Welcome back to Coast Vue. I really enjoyed that conversation about Stennis and Partners for Stennis and Mishu, and we'll continue that conversation. It's in our effort to sort of raise to the challenge that I made at the One Coast Awards this year, that we cannot take for granted that Stennis and all the blue chip industries that are part of that will always be there. And Jerry St. Pay really pressed us on that. Hey, two quick quotes. And then we're going to get to the next part, which is I'm going to be visiting with members of the executive committee for Coast Young Professionals. But the first one is by Mary Tyler Moore. And she said this: take chances, make mistakes. That's how you grow. I mean, if you think about it, I don't care where you are in your life. I often said that, the more you learn, the more you better learn how much you don't know, that life's a journey of discovery. And that discovery of understanding how much you don't know keeps you humble and keeps you thirsty for more information. And I don't care what age you are. I mean, the older I get, the more humble I get. But Mary Tyler Moore says what most leadership folks talk about a lot, and that is you have to put people out there and give them the opportunity to learn. And the way you learn is making mistakes and taking chances. The next one's from Winston Churchill. To improve is to change. So to be perfect is to have changed often. I talked about perfection in the last few days. Perfection is probably completely unattainable, but people's perception of perfection, you can develop yourself into your role, your vision of what your perfection looks like. That's what success is all about. And I like the way Winston Churchill says that. To improve is to change. To be perfect is to have changed often. So you have to be focused on that. Hey, listen, I am so thrilled to have members of the Coast Young Professionals Executive Committee with me today. My friend Jase Payne has been on the show many times. He's the current chairman, and he's the communications and marketing manager for the city of Gulfport. Kelly Devine, who is a director for the Mississippi Coast Chamber. She actually is responsible for Coast Young Professionals. And Christian Hartley, who I really look forward to getting to know better. She is a leader in the Cadence Bank arena. She actually is responsible for the Jackson County operation, and I hear good things about her. So I look forward to getting to know. I already know Jase, of course, but getting to know both Kelly and Christian better as we go into this conversation. Good morning. How are y'all doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Jase, you guys are focused, man. You and I have talked about Coast Young Professionals before, but you take what you're doing really seriously, don't you?
We do, and it's been a rough couple of years for Coast Young Professionals. I look back at the chairmans and chairwomen before me, and I wish that they had another opportunity because they are such great talents and great people, and I'm honored to be following them in this type of position, but. We are very serious about retention and recruitment and keeping our YPs here, and also networking with them, letting them know what other YPs are on the coast that are in the same industry as them, or if they're in need of a job, or if they're in, trying to relocate or change their career. We're very serious on keeping people here. We always hear about the brain drain and we can't recruit talent. Well, we have talent. These two ladies right here are major talent, and we'll take the world and take the coast and conquer it later on. But we have a lot of great people on our board. We have 194 members in Coast Young Professionals. So we take this very seriously.
Well, I talk a lot about the new economy, and we don't have the time to get into all those aspects now. But the mixed use development that will happen in Gulfport, and the things that are happening in downtown Pascagoula, and the things that are happening in downtown Biloxi, and the list goes on and on. We're seeing more developers that are really beginning to understand that the way to keep young people here is to build places that allows them to live, work, and play in a very similar area. And I've had a number of those developers on this show, and it's good to see you guys are focused on it too. So it's not necessarily trying to, because of the ability to work remotely, people can lots of people can choose where they want to live now, even if they work for Amazon or Microsoft or whatever. So coming over to you, Kelly, the opportunity to be engaged in Coast Young Professionals is really important, isn't it?
It absolutely is. It's changed my life since getting involved, and half the people I talk to on a day-to-day basis I've met through CYP, and it's just been wonderful.
So, and for the chamber to have a director focused on it, that means that as Adele and others involved from the board are focused on leadership development and beyond even leadership development, creating opportunities for professionals to come together and do projects together, stay focused together, learn together, to get that social opportunities together. The networking that happens through CYP leads to who knows what.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I tell people all the time, it's not what you know, it's who you know and how they can help you. And that is not ever more true than for Coast Young Professionals. Because you, like you said, you can find mentors, you find business partners, you find friends, you find your potential next employer or a new employee once you step into those leadership roles. And if you kind of keep yourself locked away or you're working remotely, you're not networking with people, making those connections, you never know what might come along and come knocking on your door.
Well, to be the director of Coast Young Professionals, it's clear that you have said that before. That was very, very nicely said. But it's all happens, as Stan Tyner, the former executive director, the editor of the Sun Herald, it has the benefit of being true. You see it with your own eyes, and that makes you passionate about it.
Absolutely.
Christian, I'm proud of you for the role that you're playing with your bank in Jackson County. And I look for great things to come from you. In fact, I look forward to having you on Coast Vue to tell your full story. But CYP has a really important role in this community, doesn't it?
Oh, it's so important, Ricky, and thank you so much for the kind words. I told my Coast Young Professional story as I went to the Ignite conference back in 2019, and it was so important for me to be surrounded by a group of young professionals here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I was looking around and seeing all of these high-performing individuals. Like, I found my people. I want to be connected with this group, and so I joined in 2019. A few years later, I was tapped to sit on the board of directors, which I'm so honored to do, and gotten an opportunity to chair a committee in years past. And it's such a great opportunity. And to your point, you mentioned it earlier, we are the next generation. We are the people who are coming up next. So getting involved at this age and at this stage in our life and getting connected with the people that we need to, it really is going to help Mississippi move forward.
When I read that quote from Mary Tyler Moore at the beginning, where she said, take chances, make mistakes. That's how you grow. You're surrounded by people who get that. They want to stretch themselves. They want to take themselves to the brink, because once you master whatever that is you're trying to master, then you can move to the next thing. That's true in your work. That's true in the community, especially. It's about flexing new muscles and learning how the community and all these complex pieces fit together. But you're surrounded by people out of those 100 and how many members you have at CYP who are all doing that. And the opportunity to sort of glom onto that and learn from them and see through them and see, oh my gosh, that person is really good at that. I gotta focus on that. That happens a lot, doesn't it?
It really does. And, I think that not only is it important for us as young people to be surrounded by people our age, but also to glean that information from others who have gone before us, who have paved the way. And so it really is a connection and a partnership that we need to have with our older, wiser leaders, where we're saying, we don't necessarily want your job right now, but please teach us and train us and develop us so we can be fully equipped to step into those roles and to lead this county and this coast and this state forward.
So you're did I read it right that you're the chair-elect for CYP for next year,
yes.
2024?
Yes, sir.
Well, mm-hmm. I can clearly understand why, and I'm looking at Jase and Kelly, and I can see that they are thrilled by that. You're a rock star. I can already tell that. Jase, when you think about the leaders that are willing to step up to lead an organization like CYP, man, that's really important, because so goes the leader, so goes an organization like CYP. Isn't it true? Right.
Absolutely. And then I kind of think about it as far as people being involved in it in a little bit of a different light, because when you have the chamber, a lot of these are higher up executives as far as their board members or people at their events, where a lot of our members are grinding every day, and so they're trying to make it to our events. They're trying to make it up in the company. They're trying to make sure that they also have their lives in order. And so kind of my personal little theme this year is, I told the board this the other day, we're not the future, we're next up. And that's the truth for a lot of us. It's not something that don't say 5 to 10 to 15 years. It's now. And so especially here in our market and with our population. So we have a lot of talent across the board, and we're in good hands.
Well, when I did the challenge at the One Coast Awards, this past award celebration, as I said at the beginning of the show in the first segment when I talked with Tish and Mark, is that I said we got to fight complacency. We have to fight the gravity toward protecting the status quo. And we have to stay focused on leadership, because we can never have enough leaders who get it, who get the big picture. And when we come back on the other side, we'll talk a little bit more about that, about this complex thing we call coastal Mississippi. Man, it's got a lot of great things going for it, but it's got a history, though, of infighting and all this kind of stuff that I think Katrina washed a lot of that away, and we got a chance to think strategically again and as a region again. But we still have to fight it, because there are so many elected officials and so many people engaged. And the better we do it aligning, the more success we're going to have as a community. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Coast Vue. I shared this last week as we continue our conversation with members of the Executive Committee for Coast Young Professionals. This quote from Mark Twain: "The two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why." You know, I had the benefit as publisher of the Sun Herald to see a lot about how people found out why after the storm, when we were all together trying to figure out how we're going to get ourselves out of this mess. And a lot of us discovered our why in that moment. But all the work we had done to understand the community prior to that positioned us to be able to form the Governor's Commission and work with Haley Barbour to do the things that we did. But that's not something you just decide to do. It takes a lot of work, a lot of learning in the community. Mentorship cannot be overstated. I mean, we just can't overstate how important it is. You see it all the time. Excuse me. Just in your work, not only at the chamber as it relates to mentorship, but in CYP as well, don't you, Kelly?
Yes, absolutely. I think mentorship is one of the most underrated parts of professional development, leadership development that anyone could think of. It's so key, and you never know when that mentor is going to come along, how they're going to come at you. They might be from a totally different industry, different background, socioeconomic status. You never know, but that person could impact your life and totally change its trajectory.
See, I could see going to a meeting, Christian Hartley, our friend here with us, and she, by the way, so are you, Kelly, very articulate, okay? But I was thinking about how Christian expressed herself a few minutes ago, and I could see her standing up in a meeting expressing herself. And if it's at a full meeting of 100 people, and I could see maybe 3 or 4 people in that group saying, "Holy mackerel," I have to learn how Christian does that. I got to learn, how does she gather her thoughts? I came from communication background, so I'm very aware of how someone communicates. All 3 of you are terrific communicators. But has it happened, Christian, that someone just literally walked up to you and said, I could use your help"?
It has, and I'm always humbled by it. You know, I'm always humbled when someone comes up to me and they say, "Wow, that was really a blessing." You know, those words that you just said, I really took something from that. And I truly believe that if you've impacted one person's life, you've changed the world. You really have made a difference in your community and where you come from. And I also think that, you know, from a mentorship standpoint, there are so many times that we have mentors in our minds. You know, I'm thinking of someone, Miss Dorothy Shaw, I'll just say her name. So Miss Dorothy has been a long time excellent leader here in Jackson County in the Pascagoula area. And I remember when I first met her, maybe about 9 or so years ago, I just saw her in a room and immediately I was drawn to her. My goodness, I want to be like her, the way she carried herself, the way she spoke, the way she handled different situations. And she was that mentor in my mind. So sometimes I think, you know, you want to think of this formalized process. I'm going to email Ricky. I'm going to get some time on his calendar. But I think that we can't underestimate, to Kelly's point, the power of those people who are always observing you, who are always watching you. And we have to remember that not only as mentors and as leaders, but also for the people who are coming up behind us, that we are living, breathing testimonies every day. And we're writing a story. And it can be a mentor that, oh my goodness, I don't ever want to be like her, or, oh my goodness, I will do everything I can to be like this person.
Well, Christian, you said that so well. And again, that's why I sort of directed it in your direction. But Listen, I understand this. I worked my way up through, newspapers and led different divisions and spent a lot of time in the community and had a great mentor, had many mentors in my life. And so for you to say what you just said, it's not something you get overnight. It's something you have to work hard to be able to do. It's not just expressing your thoughts the way that you did so wonderfully. It's not just the content of what you expressed. It's the wisdom that comes behind those words. And I can't wait to tell your story. The hard work, the incredible, there is nothing easy. That you didn't just appear on the scene and communicate well. You had to work your tail off, didn't you?
I did. And, it's really the grace of God. There are times where, and I'll use Kelly as an example. I was in a meeting with her and she, pitched something to me. Hey, Christian, you can be the speaker at this. And I said, yes, but I was petrified. I'm going, oh my goodness, what am I going to say to these people, for this event that I care so much about? So sometimes you do have to say yes, scared. To your point, you have to know your why. As a Christian, I want to make sure that I represent Christ very well. And I want to make sure that I represent my company, Cadence Bank. And I want to make sure that I'm representing our next generation, because oftentimes, it just takes that one incident, that one thing, and your testimony is just gone. So you have to be aware of your influence, and we all have it, whether we know it or not. You have to be aware of your influence. And I just pray, Ricky, every day for wisdom as I'm speaking to, whether it's a customer, whether it's someone on a board that I sit on, or someone within the state or government officials, that my words are seasoned with grace and that they're edifying and a blessing to all who may hear me.
Well, that give a speech to a big audience. I've been there so many times, and I don't care how big it is or how small it is. I can still see myself standing in front of the mirror giving that speech 1,000 times before I gave the speech, and pouring over every single word of the speech to make sure I'm communicating what I wanted to do. There were literally no shortcuts, and I was going to outwork. You were not going to outwork me. Let's put it that way. I mean, you were going to have to work really hard. So you don't get success in life if you don't work hard. And you're surrounded by people like that in CYP, and it's such a blessing here in coastal Mississippi. Hey, thank you, you guys, Christian and my friend Jase. Thanks for helping put this together. Kelly, thank you for joining us. And this is going to be the first of many conversations. I look forward to having you all back.
Thank you so much.
So much.
You bet. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thank you.